Have you ever felt stuck, knowing exactly what you needed to do but simply unable to get started? Maybe you've thought, just 5 more minutes on my phone, or I'll start tomorrow. What if I told you that the answer to this was discovered over 400 years ago by one of the greatest warriors in history? Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai, faced exactly this kind of battle, but he discovered a method to win the greatest of all fights, the battle against one's own mind. In this video, you'll learn how to apply Musashi's principles to overcome your mental resistance, turn chaos into focus, and accomplish even the most difficult tasks with clarity and intention. Musashi said, "Before you defeat the enemy in front of you, defeat the enemy within you." This phrase contains the essence of the struggle we face every day, because most of the time, what stops you from taking action is not the challenge itself, but the resistance created by your own mind. Think about how many times you've planned something important, but when it's time to act, your mind finds an excuse. Just 5 more minutes on your phone, I'll leave it for tomorrow, or even, it won't work anyway. This is mental resistance in action. This pattern of self-sabotage is not your fault. It is a natural characteristic of the mind, which seeks comfort and avoids discomfort. This was something Musashi understood deeply. He said that inner chaos is the greatest enemy because it is what distracts you from your focus. The mind works like a trap. The more you try to fight these impulses, the stronger they seem. It is like trying to tame a wild horse by pulling on the reins too hard. It only becomes more agitated. So the first step to overcoming resistance isn't to fight it, it's to acknowledge it. When you stop and watch your mind run away, something powerful happens. It begins to lose its grip on you. Here's a simple exercise inspired by Musashi. The next time you feel the urge to avoid something important, stop, close your eyes, ask yourself, why am I trying to avoid this? Don't judge the answer, just notice. That moment of awareness may be all it takes to break the cycle of procrastination. Musashi believed that recognizing the enemy within was the first step, but he also knew that to overcome resistance you need to learn to act in harmony with the moment. In the next step, we'll discover how he used the flow of combat to turn obstacles into opportunities. Musashi learned that winning didn't just involve skill or strength, he had to be in tune with the moment, flowing with challenges rather than fighting them. Early on in his journey, he made the mistake many of us make. He believed that victory depended on brute force and absolute control, but he soon realized that the more he tried to force himself, the more exhausted he became. It was then that he began to observe the flow of combat. Instead of attacking without thinking, he began to wait for the right moment. He moved like water, flowing, twisting, and adjusting to the circumstances. Musashi realized that by doing so, he not only conserved his energy, but also turned his opponent's movements into opportunities. This principle, which would later be associated with the concept of Wu Wei, or non-resistance, teaches something simple yet profound. Stop fighting situations. Use the flow of them to your advantage. In the modern world, we are constantly trying to force things. You want to change careers but feel like the path is too difficult. You try to improve your health but are frustrated by the slow results. Or you try to achieve a goal but find yourself stuck. In the face of obstacles that seem insurmountable, the more you try to push through these problems with brute force, the harder they seem. This is because by resisting, you waste energy fighting what is beyond your control. Musashi teaches us something different. Accept what is in front of you and move with it. What seemed like an obstacle becomes a path. Imagine the water of a river. When it encounters rocks in its path, it doesn't try to push them or break them. It goes around them and continues on its course. This is the secret of Wu Wei, and it is exactly what you can apply in your life. How to apply the flow in practice. Think about a difficult project that you've been putting off. Maybe you need to write a report, finish a complex paper, or even start studying something new. Your mind is full of excuses. It's too hard, I don't have time right now, or I don't even know where to start. When this happens, try the following. Accept the initial discomfort. Instead of resisting the idea of the task, recognize that feeling uncomfortable is part of the process. Tell yourself, I don't need to finish this now, I just need to start. Break the challenge down into smaller parts. A big task seems overwhelming, but by breaking it down into simple steps, it becomes easier. Musashi applied this to his duels. Every move was calculated and adjusted to the moment. Get into the flow with one small action. Pick the smallest part of the task and get started. If you need to write, open the document and write a sentence. If you need to study, read just 1 page. The act of getting started breaks down the barrier of resistance and gets you into the right rhythm. Take advantage of incremental progress. By taking small steps, you realize that the challenge wasn't as big as it seemed. Each step brings you closer to your goal, without the burden of trying to do everything at once. The power of accepting and flowing. Musashi applied this principle not only in his duels, but also in his everyday life. He said that a warrior's greatest mistake was to fight against the natural flow of things, because when you stop resisting, life starts working in your favor. A simple example: think about how hard it is to row against the current of a river. You get tired, you can't move forward, and you often give up. Now imagine turning the boat around and rowing with the flow of the water. The effort is minimal, but the progress is constant. This doesn't mean you should give up on challenges. Quite the opposite. It means that by accepting what's in front of you and adjusting your movements to the moment, you can overcome any obstacle with less effort and more efficiency. The next time you feel like you are pushing a mountain, ask yourself, am I resisting this or am I flowing with it? Musashi and the warriors flow in duels. Musashi did not attack on impulse. He observed his opponent, adjusted his stance, and waited for the right moment to act. He understood that patience and fluidity were not signs of weakness but powerful tools for winning with precision. Likewise, in your life, you can apply the warrior flow. When a challenge arises, instead of resisting, ask, how can I use this to my advantage? Accepting challenges doesn't mean settling. It means working through them, not wasting your energy fighting the inevitable. Musashi believed that flowing with the moment was essential to winning, but he also knew that to act with precision, it was necessary to calm the mind. And that is what we will see in the next step, the power of calm and silence. Musashi knew that in order to act with precision, one must first calm one's mind. He understood that inner chaos can be as dangerous as the opponent before you. If your mind is agitated, your actions become impulsive and disorderly. But when your mind is calm, you can see clearly and act with intention. This idea is deeply connected to Zen Buddhism, which Musashi studied. At the heart of this practice is Zazen, or sitting meditation. At first glance, it seems simple, just sitting and being silent. But this practice carries transformative power. The chaos of the mind. When you try to sit in silence, you discover something surprising. Your mind is full of noise, thoughts, worries, to-do lists. All appear at once. It's like a lake stirred by the wind. Impossible to reflect what's going on around you. Musashi said, if you can't find the solution in the present moment, where else do you expect to find it? This phrase reveals the essence of the practice of calm. It is not about running away from problems, but about creating a space for answers to appear. When you allow yourself to stop and observe your thoughts without judgment, something powerful happens. It's like the wind dying down over a lake. Slowly, the water calms down and you can see the bottom clearly. How calmness transforms the warrior. Musashi applied this before his duels. He knew that going into combat with an agitated mind was like fighting blindfolded. So he sought silence, not as a way to relax, but as a means of connecting with his inner strength. In the silence, he could anticipate the next move. He did not act on impulse. He acted with intention. Now think about your routine. How often do you try to do everything at once? You're constantly busy, but rarely focused. Your mind is full of things to do, but none of them seem to actually make any progress. Practicing calmness can change that. By taking a moment to quiet your mind, you organize your thoughts and create space to act with clarity. Practicing silence in everyday life. You don't have to be a monk to apply this to your life. Here's a simple exercise. Find a moment to pause. It could be in the morning before starting the day or at night after everything is done. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Take a deep breath and focus only on your breathing. Don't try to control your thoughts. Just observe. Let the thoughts pass. Imagine that your mind is like the sky, and every thought is a cloud. Let the clouds pass by without clinging to them. When you're done, reflect. Ask yourself, what really matters right now? This simple practice can help you reconnect with your priorities and reduce the burden of mental chaos. The calm and the path of the warrior. Musashi understood that calm was not passivity. On the contrary, it was the preparation to act with greater precision. He said that silence was like sharpening the blade of a sword. Without it, even the best strike loses its power. The next time you feel overwhelmed, take a break, breathe, find calm. Because it is in silence that your mind becomes sharp as a blade, ready to cut through any obstacle. But Musashi knew that calm alone is not enough. It needs to be transformed into intentional action. In the next step, you'll learn how to put this clarity into practice and move forward with total focus. Musashi knew that calm was essential for clarity, but he also understood that reflection without action leads nowhere. He said, a calm mind is like a sharp blade. It needs to be used at the right time. A warrior's true strength lies in his ability to act with intention. It's not about multitasking or rushing to complete tasks, but about giving each action your full attention, as if it were the only thing that matters. Why do we act without focus? In our daily lives, we are always busy. We try to juggle 1,000 tasks at once, answering messages while we work, or thinking about the next commitment while we are still on the current one. This is not productivity. This is distraction in disguise. Musashi believed that every movement, every action, should be treated with the same respect he gave to a sword strike. He knew that without intention, even the most intense effort can be wasted, he said. Don't waste energy on unnecessary movements. Every action should have a clear purpose. How to act with intention in everyday life. You don't have to be a samurai to apply this. Here are simple steps to bring more intention to your actions. Choose one task and eliminate distractions before you begin. Turn off notifications, put your phone away, and clear your workspace. Focus only on what needs to be done. Define a purpose for each action. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Understanding the why helps you put more energy and meaning into the task. Enter the state of full attention. Musashi said that the mind and body need to be aligned. This means being present in every detail. If you are writing, think only of the words. If you are training, focus on the movement. Finish before moving on to the next thing. Don't jump to another task until you've finished the current one. This ensures that you not only get started, but that you finish it with quality. The power of intentional action. Musashi knew that acting with intention brought more than results. It created a sense of purpose in everything he did. For him, even the simplest activities such as sharpening a sword or studying a text were opportunities to train the mind and body. Now, think about your own life. How many times do you start something only to abandon it halfway through without even realizing it? How many tasks are rushed through without real thought? This isn't just ineffective, it robs your actions of meaning. When you bring more intention to what you do, something changes. Tasks that once seemed trivial start to matter. You realize that every step, no matter how small, is an essential part of the journey. Musashi and the way of the warrior. For Musashi, the difference between an ordinary warrior and a true master was not physical strength. It was the ability to act with full intent, he said. The warrior who acts with intention can accomplish more with a single blow than others could do in 100 haphazard movements. This wisdom still applies today, whether it's a job, a workout, or a personal project. Do as Musashi did. Dedicate yourself, body and mind, to what's before you, but even with intention and focus. There is something else that is needed to achieve great results: patience, and that is what we will talk about in the next step. Musashi knew that achieving mastery required more than strength, skill, or intention. He understood that true progress required something deeper: patience. In today's world, we are accustomed to wanting immediate results. If something takes a long time, we get frustrated. But Musashi said, victory belongs not to the fastest, but to the most constant. This constancy comes from patience, which he considered one of the most important virtues of a warrior. The lotus flower and the slow journey. Think of the lotus flower. It grows in the mud, in murky waters, slowly rising to the surface. Its growth is not in a hurry, but when it finally blooms, its beauty is incomparable. Musashi saw his own evolution as the journey of the lotus. He knew that haste was the greatest enemy of progress. Instead of rushing to achieve a goal, he focused on each small step, understanding that true growth happens beneath the surface, out of sight, and so it is with you. Progress may be slow. Sometimes you feel like you're stuck, like nothing is changing, but each day of practice, each small action is making you stronger in ways you can't yet see. Why is patience difficult? We live in an age where everything is immediate. We want quick results, instant solutions, and we get frustrated when progress doesn't keep up with our pace. Patience seems difficult because it requires trust in the process and in what you can't see right now. Musashi understood that patience is not about sitting around waiting. It's about continuing to take action, even if you don't see immediate results. He said that each practice stroke, each day spent learning, was like sharpening a sword. Progress may not be visible, but it was happening. How to cultivate patience? You can develop patience like Musashi by following these steps. Trust the process. Understand that great achievements take time. When you plant a seed, you don't see it grow immediately, but even underground, it is taking root. Set small goals. Break your goals down into smaller steps and celebrate each step. This way, you can stay motivated while building towards something bigger. Practice constancy. Dedicate yourself every day, even if it's just for a short time. Remember, it's not about the amount of effort you put in one day, but about the consistent effort you put in over time. Accept breaks as part of the journey. Sometimes you will need to stop, reevaluate, and adjust. This is not failure. This is part of progress. Musashi's slow journey. Musashi understood that patience was what separated ordinary warriors from true masters. He said that each day of training, each victory and even each defeat were bricks that built his path to mastery. Now think about your own journey. Are you in a rush to get to the top, or are you committed to the process? Because a true warrior knows that it's not speed that matters, but consistency and dedication over time. Musashi believed that just as a lotus grows in the mud and blooms over time, your challenges and efforts are the foundation for your growth. No matter how slow it seems, the important thing is to keep going. He said, "Be like water that shapes stone, not by force but by persistence." And with that, you can also achieve mastery in any area of your life. Musashi said, "True victory is not in conquering others but in conquering yourself." Today you learned how the greatest samurai in history faced his own inner challenges, overcame mental resistance, and turned obstacles into opportunities. Now it's your turn, remember. Acknowledge your resistance and understand that it is not the enemy. Flow with challenges rather than fighting them. Find calm in the chaos and use that clarity to act with intention. And above all, practice patience, trusting that true progress takes time. A warrior's journey is made up of small steps, and the most important thing is to stay on the path. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel to continue following content about the path of the samurai and how to apply these teachings to your life. And now, I want to know, which of these lessons from Musashi will you apply first? Leave your answer in the comments. Let's build together a community of warriors dedicated to growth and mastery.